Welcome to your Finance Planner Spreadsheet walkthrough. Please note that the designs, colors, and fonts may change as we update and improve our templates, but the core functionality of this spreadsheet will remain the same. The purpose of this spreadsheet is to give you a clear, organized view of your finances so you can make confident money decisions and set real goals. This guide will walk you through how to fully set up and start using your all-in-one budgeting and financial tracking spreadsheet. We will cover how to set up your currency, your accounts, and your budget categories, how to connect and import your transactions manually or with an optional add-on, how to automatically categorize your spending using smart rules, and how to read your dashboard so you can track your cash flow and calculate your net worth. So whether you're managing your personal finances, household budget, or even a business income and expenses, this system will give you clarity, control, and confidence around your money. It's a one-time setup and then everything updates with just a few clicks. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do, go to the Setup tab, select your currency from this list. If your currency is not on the list, you can add it over here and then select it from the drop down. You're going to enter the year, so 2025, and you're going to enter your name in here. For the account type and the account name, you're going to enter your check-ins, your savings. You can enter up to 9 different accounts, and then here you're going to enter your account name. For me, I always like to include the last 4 digits of that account as well, just so I know and I can identify which one is which. And then you're going to do the same thing with your credit cards. Here, you are going to set up your monthly budget per category. Here, you're going to set up your categories. You can use these ones or you can just type and enter your own. And then here are just some icons. These are images. I saved the icon and then I go to insert image in cell, and then you're going to select the image. And then to set up your budget, if your budget is the same every month, you can just copy this whole thing, just come over here and paste it. Then for example, gifts, maybe the month of December or November, you have a higher budget for that, you can enter it over here. Then over to the right, you're going to see columns for assets. Everything that is asset, you're going to enter over here. So there's real estate category, personal property category, and business interest categories. And then over here, you have the liabilities. Any personal debt, secured debt, business liabilities, other debt go in here. And this is it for the setup tab. Next, you are going to go to the transactions tab. Now, the transactions tab, you can download the statement from your bank and then paste it here. So you're going to have the date, description, the city, the business, and then the amount outflow and the amount inflow. This is set up this way because I use an extension. It's called Bank to Sheets. It's an extension that you can add on to your Google Sheet. So you go to add extensions, add-ons, and then get add-ons. And then you're going to search for Bank to Sheets all together. Just click enter, no space, and this is what you're going to see over here. Now keep in mind that this is a paid add-on and it costs $5 per month. Open over here, you can install, follow the instructions for the add-on to install that. Then once you install that, you're going to go ahead and you're going to follow the instructions over here. So you're going to create a connection, and then here you're going to connect to your institution. It says the Bank to Sheets uses Plaid. I am not sure if this works internationally. I'm US based, so this works for any bank in the US. Once you set that up, this is what you are going to see. You're going to go ahead and you're going to connect your bank account over here. You can connect up to 5 different accounts, and that includes bank accounts, savings accounts, credit card accounts, any type of account that you have to manage your finances. You can add it over here. I only use for my main bank account, but for this $5 per month plan, you can add up to 5 accounts. And this is all you need. Once you connect over here, it's going to download your transactions on this transactions tab. This is why it's set up like this. It has to be set up like this because each transaction has its own ID. So don't change anything if you are using Bank to Sheets. If you are not using Bank to Sheets, then you're going to have to put your outflow amounts over here from your bank. You can download a bank statement, put that in a spreadsheet, sort everything, and then you paste your amounts in here. Keep in mind that some banks might have this outflow as a negative amount. You want to make sure that the numbers that come in here are positive. So if you do need to, you can open a separate tab and do, let's say it's like minus, do this here real quick. So then you can do this equals this and then times -1, and that will make it positive. And then you copy and paste this, then Control C, and then do a Shift Control V so it doesn't paste the formula, it pastes only the numbers. Then you copy this one over there. The next thing you're gonna do, you're going to go to the categories. And in the categories, you are going to enter red if it's an expenses category or a green if it's an income category. Then you're gonna select here, for example. So these are all of your categories that you set up in your setup tab. If it's in earnings, and then you enter the earnings. And then here, the subcategory, you can freely type over here. So let's say business income, or you can be your Etsy shop income, whatever it is, you're going to enter the categories over here. On your category rules tab, you have 2 warnings. So you have this first warning that says 233 transactions are uncategorized, and then here it says 0 transactions are in 2 or more categories. Here you're going to see the date of your transaction, the description, the total, the category, and then the type, if it was inflow or outflow. And then you're going to start adding the lookup text, and then you're going to categorize it. So here is all of the categories that you set up in your categories tab. Now the trick with this one, and this is what makes this entire planet very automated, it's identifying keywords that repeat for your recurring transactions. So for example, bank to sheets. I know this is one type of transaction that happens every month. So I'm gonna select just here because this here will change. This one is the date. So if I search for bank to sheets over here, I have 6 transactions. So 1, 2, so you can see here that these stay the same, but then this one right here changes. So if you copy the entire thing, you're going to have to categorize this every month. If you don't, if you select just bank to sheets, this is going to select everything that is bank to sheets, and then you categorize it. So this is a subscription. You can start typing here subscription, and you can search. Right now, I don't have that, so I'm going to have to add that category in there. So I'm going to go to categories, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add a subscription, and I'm going to add bank to sheets. So then let's go back to the category rules, and then now I can search for bank to sheets, and it's over here. And once you categorize in here, you can see that all the bank to sheets are going to be categorized already. So this is categorized, this is categorized, this is categorized. And then now you can see here that 228 transactions now are uncategorized. So let's go ahead, let's do a few more over here. And get Dollar Tree. So I have everything else Dollar Tree, and this is the way that I categorize things, just so I know. These are some stores that I shop on a regular basis that like it's everything, right? Amazon, I buy everything on Amazon. Dollar Tree, Target. So it's like this is how I categorize things. So I'm gonna enter Dollar Tree in here every time that there's a Dollar Tree. So Dollar Tree, and then this here, this is a deposit. So that is earnings. Here, Sam's Club, I know that it's a subscription, but it's an annual subscription. I don't think I have Sam's Club in here. So let's go ahead and categorize the Sam's Club one. I'm gonna write annual just so I know, I can remember that this is an annual subscription. Okay, another one that I know that I always shop on is Harris Teeter. That's a supermarket. So I have here groceries. So you can see here that I already categorized everything. Amazon. Now again, because I shop a bunch of different things on Amazon, I just categorize as a one big category. But if you do track your purchase separately, then you can go and categorize the way it works for you. The more you enter them over here, the more you will see that this should be going down. Both warnings should be 0. And then every month, as your transactions update automatically in here, these categories will already be in here. So whenever a new transaction is entered, this is going to automatically categorize it for you. I'm gonna finish this categorizing here and I'll be back. Now here is a warning. This one shows 4 transactions are in 2 or more categories. And if you see here, it's the one that it's highlighted in the same color. So these ones, the uncategorized transactions, are going to highlight in yellow, and then the transactions that fall into 2 or more categories is going to highlight in teal. And that means the keyword it's finding in 2 different categories. Stash, for example, is this investment platform. They charge a subscription, and then this is when I put money into, a stock. Then here, it's because of this stash keyword, it's pulling into 2 different categories. What I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna find a way to categorize them without having them overlap. So I can see that the stash financial, stash subs is for the $3 subscription that I paid. So I'm gonna see if I put this whole thing, stash subscription. Okay, so now because I entered the whole sentence, this stash capital is not picking up on the stash financial stash. That makes sense. I know that this one I can even do, let me try to do stash capital only instead of the web ID, because then I know every time it shows up as stash capital, I know it's an investment, and then every time it shows up as stash financial, stash subs, I know it's the subscription. So then here now it says that 0 transactions are in 2 or more categories, and then there's 149 left to categorize. If you ever happen by accident type something in here and the whole thing disappears, just select any of the rows above that and just drag this down. That will bring it back. And if you're categorizing your things and you're like all the way down here, it's okay for you to just like select something like this, place that here, and that's totally fine. This part right here to the left, it does not have to be in order. It does not have to follow a sequence. So if all of this, let's say it's already categorized, you can go ahead and just come over here and then just randomly enter over here. I find it easier that way because I was doing, my OCD was telling me to go back over here and enter over here, so everything is in order. You don't have to. If anything, at the end, when you're done categorizing, you can select these 2 cells over here, look up text and category all the way down. Make sure you select everything so all the rows are included, and then you're going to apply a filter here. So you can see here that the filter applied, so you can select category, you can sort A to Z, the category if you want to. Now everything went back up top, or you can select the lookup text, you can do A to Z. Now everything is in one place again, and then it doesn't affect any of this side. So there's 1 transaction left, and then I'm gonna go over here, and now it should say 0 transactions uncategorized and 0 transactions are in 2 or more categories. So we are good. Everything has been categorized as it should. And then when you go now on your categories, you can see here there's an year-to-date total of all your things, and also you can see a summary in the cash flow report. So here you have a 12-month view, and you will get the month from January to December of the current year that you selected in your setup tab. Then also you have the cash flow report, which will break it down, all of your income and all of your expenses. So all the income will be in the inflow, all the expenses will be in the outflow, and that's going to be broken down by month. And you have a 12 months view snapshot over here. So here you have your total, the inflow, the outflow. Then inside over here, you have the breakdown. And then here's the total per category. So here you can see, if you want to see how much money you usually spend on gas, for example, here is your total. If you want to see how much money have you spending on Target, for example, you have this. If you want to see how much money you spend on your electric monthly, you can see it over here. This is the total for your electric. Same thing for the internet, groceries, restaurants and takeout. And then down here you have your cash flow. The cash flow will take in account in your net worth calculator amount where you're going to enter your checkings account starting balance for each month. So here in January you have the starting balance, the February starting balance, and so forth and so on. So your cash flow report will take take the starting balance, add your inflow, and subtract your outflow. And you can see your cash flow per month. Now, let's go to the net worth calculator. This is where you're going to calculate your net worth by month. And that will include all of your assets minus all of your liabilities. And here, you're going to enter all of your assets that you set up over here in the setup tab. You will not change any of the colored cells in this because there's formulas, and then you will not change the checking accounts location because these are being used in your cash flow formula. Everything else in here, you're welcome to add and remove everything that you don't have and add everything that you have. When you select from the drop down over here, you will see everything that you set up on your setup tab will be landing over here. Same thing for your liabilities. And then down here, it's going to give you the sum of all of your cash equivalents, your investments, your real estate, and so forth and so on. And then the same thing for liabilities. Down here, it's going to be showing all of your personal debt, secured debt, and so forth and so on. Here is the total for liabilities. Here's the total for assets. And then here is your total net worth. Here you can enter your target net worth. Don't edit these ones because they have formulas. Here's a chart for your assets and your liabilities. And here is your goal completion. And this chart will be based on your goal for your target net worth. This here is a filter transactions tab. And you can filter all of your transactions 3 different ways. You can filter by keyword. You can just click over here above this yellow flag to open this. This says here, filter transactions by keyword. And then here you can enter any type of keyword that you're looking for. Say you're looking for subscriptions. So anywhere in your transactions where the word subscription shows up, that's where it's going to pull over here. So if you want to just show Hulu, it will filter all your Hulu subscriptions. If you want to filter by Amazon, for example, all of your Amazon transactions are going to show in here. And then here you can select to highlight the highest amount and the lowest amount. So when you highlight this one, keep in mind, this is kind of the opposite. The highest amount will be the lowest amount because it's a negative amount in here. So if you want to see your highest transaction, like highest expense, you're actually going to search for the lowest amount, and then it's going to give you here your highest one. And then same thing for the highest, it's going to show you the lowest transaction that you had. Now, if it was part of your earnings, then the highest number will be 4,000 instead of 2,000. Hope that makes sense. And then here you can filter by category. So here are all of your categories. If you want to see your business purchases or your Amazon or your Prime Video or dog food, here you have each individual category that you set up on your categories tab. Then here you have a number of transactions, total amount. And then last but not least, you have a filter by date. So you can select your start date over here. If you want to select all your January transactions, for example, you just click in here and then select end date. You're going to click the January 31st, and then it will give you all the transactions made in January. And then last but not least, we have our dashboard. This is where you're going to have a quick glance of all of your transactions and your categories, of all of your transactions, your spendings. So here you can select the month and select the year. When you select all year, it's going to show you all of your transactions within this year. Then it's going to show you the total income, the total expenses, how much you have in savings, how's your cash flow, and if you are on track with the budget. And then here shows your net worth, which is going to show the latest month, which is April, that you have your net worth in there. Here you have a summary card that will show you the highest spending category, the most expensive purchase. Here you're gonna have your average spending per category. This is how much you spent on the category all year, and this dashed line is your average spending per month. This here, it gives you the calendar today. So today is April 14 of 2020. Then here you can see your recent transactions. These are your latest transactions, and it gives you the date, what the transaction was. There's the icon that you assigned for each category. And then here you have the total spent on that transaction. If you have an uncategorized transaction over here, it will show in your dashboard. So you can see here, everywhere where there is no icon, that means you have uncategorized transactions. So your transaction will show, but not the icon. Okay, now that I categorize them, I know there's nothing missing. I come to this spreadsheet once a week and I just take a look if there's anything missing from my transactions. Normally, I don't spend much outside of what I normally do. So if anything, it's one or another transaction that I have to categorize. Everything else is already automatically categorizing because again, this is a one-time setup. You definitely don't have to do this every time, but every time you come back in here, all of the transactions will be categorized and all the numbers are going to be updated. So this pretty much runs on autopilot as long as you keep your transactions categorized. This is the key to make this work. And again, if you are in the US or if the bank to sheets work internationally, I highly recommend. I am not an affiliate to that add-on, but I absolutely love it. It's $5 a month. That just saves me a lot of time downloading reports from my banks. I come here once a week and be like, okay, I spent this much money in this. Down here, you can see your spending and like categories. If you want to see how much you spent on groceries, you can see here it's pretty average what I spent monthly in groceries. And then here it shows you the percentage your total groceries is in comparison to your entire year spendings. So about 30% of my spending is in groceries. Here you have your net worth overview. Again, it's what you had in your net worth calculator tab. Here it gives you your highest expense and down to your lowest expense. So you can see here that clearly groceries is the one category that I spend the most, and then everything else, then dining and drinks, utilities, household maintenance, education, so forth and so on. Down here, remember that you set up your budget in the setup tab. So you can select a category in here, like groceries, for example. And then down here, you have your budget health per category. If you select utilities, for example, my budget for January was $400. I spent $359 and then I had $40 remaining. For January and March, I busted my budget. So then this is the amount that I overspent. Here is for April. So April, I'm still within the budget. So if it is gray, it means it's busted. If it's green, that's the amount that you have remaining to spend. So let's see my groceries, for example. That's a big one. So my budget is $1,200 per month. January and March, I totally busted it. But then February, I was under, and then April, I still have $800 to spend in groceries. And then on this side to the left, you have your subcategory spending. So you know how you have each of your categories. Let's go for the groceries, for example. For my subcategories, I have food and I have cleaning supplies. So then here is the total that I spent in food, and here's the total that I spent in cleaning supplies. And then this chart gives me, if you hover over the cleaning supply and this is the food, you know, the amount that you spent per each one. So for dining and drinks, I have restaurants and takeout, gas station snacks, and then some sweet treats and desserts that I like to treat my kids with. This one for subscriptions, when you hover over, you can see here that Spotify is the subscription that I spent the most. Second one is Netflix, then I have Hulu, cloud storage, and this stash. So you have all the breakdown of your categories in here. And then last but not least, you have your navigation menu over here. So whenever you need to categorize your transactions, go to this one. It says over here, set category rules for an automatic transaction categorization, cash flow report, the annual summary of your income, expenses, and your cash flow. Transactions, this is the tab that you're going to import all of your transactions to. If you are using bank to sheets, that should update automatically. And then here you have categories, so you can set up your categories. And then here you have filter transactions, where you're going to analyze your transactions based on keyword, category, or date. And then your net worth calculator, which will give you an overview of your assets and liabilities.